ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Talking Shop, a conversation with educational leaders. My name is Mike Randolph, and I'm the proud principal of the Leesburg High School, and I'm joined by our co-host, Martin Aptuck, the proud principal of Middleburg High School, and we have a very special guest with us today. It is the 2023 FLDOE Principal of the Year and the 2024 NASSP Florida Principal of the Year, Mr. Brent Frazier from Umatilla High School right here in Lake County. Brent,
welcome, Brent.
How are you doing today?
Thank you. Man, I'm doing great. I don't know how I win those awards, so if you're going to ask those questions, I don't know. Actually, I do know how I win it. I've got a phenomenal team and a great group of students, man. So that's how you win that stuff. Your name's on those trophies, but if you ever win it, gosh, it's like, it's a humbling experience for you. And you realize that, you can't get anywhere in life unless you have people who speak into your life and people who work with you. You know, what I think is so cool about the whole journey here is that I've been all over the place. I never thought I'd be a principal. I never thought I'd be a high school principal. I never thought I'd be a teacher when I first went to college. And so, but...
Yeah, so tell us, how'd you start this journey? How'd you end up in this seat?
Man, so I started as a chemical engineering major at the University of South Carolina. As you can tell from the accent there, calculus 5 days a week for me was a no-go. Like, I realized right away that I was not going to be able to do that. And, I also realized that I wanted to do something where I felt like I made a difference. And so I guess the difference in between how I feel about things, and I know there's so many great leaders across the country and across the state and in Lake County, but I'm a true believer. And I wanted to do something that I felt like was going to make a difference in the lives of adults and the lives of students, something that could impact society, and something that I felt like that I could actually do. And so when I first started the journey, I wanted to be a basketball coach. Isn't that crazy? And so
kind of something we all have in common. We all started with coaching.
Yeah, we were all coaches first.
A lot of administrators are coaches, man, because I'm going to tell you, the primary thing you've got to do as an administrator is you got to be able to inspire people. And, if you can't inspire them to think that they're better than what they are, and to believe in their potential and to put in the work to accomplish something, you can't be successful at anything, much less this job. So I think that kind of prepared me and then I had a chance to work for some amazing people. I was a teacher for 10 years. So I started out in South Carolina. I had the South Carolina Teachers Loan, $27,500, baby, paid off for teaching 3 years in South Carolina. And I went into it, and I'll be honest, I wanted to make a difference, but I also said, God, this schedule is amazing. So I work 9 months out the year. I get to do some things that I love. I'm going to have the summers off. And so that whole process has progressed. So I was in South Carolina all at a middle school for 3 years, and I taught science and social studies. And then I moved to Florida. My parents had retired to Florida, so my wife wanted to become a teacher. Well, she didn't have an education degree. So in South Carolina at the time, this is, 20-something years ago, you had to have a master's degree. So she couldn't afford to quit working and that kind of stuff. So she came down here. She was able to get a teaching job. We got it on the same day. I interviewed with Miss Linda Shepard, Carver Middle School, I think 2004, 2005. And it was the rattiest school you could imagine. Portables everywhere. I mean, old, nasty. I came from it was a really nice school in South Carolina. Really looked nice, higher kids, really wasn't Title I, didn't have to deal with that kind of stuff. But it was so neat to see her and her passion. So I went on 3 interviews that day. I got 3 job offers because, if you got a science teacher, you can get your hands on it. Boy, you hire them, especially in the middle of the summer.
Very true.
You guys know that as you have that going on. And it was so neat. So I ended up taking that job because as I was walking out in the parking lot, I had interviewed with the AP. Linda Shepard threw her arms around me and she said, "Come in here and talk to me, boy." And so I walked inside and that was it. And so that kind of started my process of understanding the importance of relationships. Because if you don't have relationships with somebody, it's my belief you can't get the type of change that you want to have. And so that started the journey. I had a chance to work as a teacher for 10 years. Then I worked at an elementary school. I actually moved to Leesburg Elementary School as a dean. And I found out real quick elementary school is probably not for me. I have complete respect for everybody, but man, God, that's some stuff. That is some stuff for sure. And then I was blessed to get an opportunity as an AP. So I spent 6 years at East Ridge High School, which is about 3,000 students now. It was about 2,000 when I was there. Then I was named the principal. So I was over at Umatilla Middle School as the principal, and then I came to the high school here, and I just completed year 3.
Nice.
So it's been.
Tell us where, like, give us an
journey.
idea. I know where Umatilla is because I drive through on the way to Orlando, but
Yeah.
give us kind of an idea where Umatilla is and what your clientele is, what the situation is in that community.
So Umatilla is Title I. It's probably the second lowest high school. It's the only other Title I high school other than Leesburg High School where Mike is at inside of Lake County. So we have a wide range of stuff. We're about 900. We're expected to be about 950 this year. When I took over 3 years ago, we were 800. So we're starting to experience the growth that the south end of the county has.
Mm-hmm.
So also our diversity has changed. So other than the white population, we have Hispanics were probably the largest subgroup that we had, but that's beginning to change rapidly as we're starting to experience growth, which has been an interesting thing because coming from East Ridge, man, that's like a city, all over the world, people all over the world that you have a chance to interact with. So that experience helped me big time there. But yeah, we're in the north part of Lake County.
All right, I'm going to ask you to brag about yourself a little bit. So tell me, I've read a little bit about you. I'm in Clay County, neighbor to the north, but I've read a little bit about your story. Tell us about, what the turnaround looked like at Umatilla and the change that you were able to work with your team and do.
Well, so learning from Leonard Shepherd, I learned the importance of relationships. Then I had a chance to be mentored by someone I love dearly, Miss Julie Robinson Llewellyn, who's the principal at East Ridge, and she taught me how to be strong and she taught me how to be strategic. And so I got a chance to spend 3 years at the middle school, which fed directly into the high school. So that experience of working with those kids and getting to know the parents and getting to know the community certainly helped as I moved to the high school. But when I took over, we opted out of the school grade, but we were a D. I think we were 378 points or something like that is what we would have been if we'd have taken the score. Obviously, you didn't take that.
No.
And put in a lot of stuff. One of the things that's so unique is the county really kind of changed their philosophy a little bit. I was able to hire both of my APs. I have 2 APs. I was able to hire probably the bulk of my leadership team. I was able to partner with a lot of amazing teachers and great staff members who were at Umatilla High School. And we jumped 168 points in 1 year. So we jumped from what was a D, a 38%, all the way up to a 54%, which was amazing. At the time, if we had taken the grade, we would have been the lowest high school in Lake County. So that's been a process. We were able to maintain that. Of course, they had some crazy stuff with the school grade pieces of it. We were able to maintain it in year 2. And this year, we're waiting on the state to come out with some stuff. But if they use the old grading scale, we're going to be about 57 or 58%.
That's excellent.
So
That's impressive.
Pretty amazing academic stuff that we've had. But, you've got to be able to hire great people. You've got to be able to inspire great people if you're going to be able to get to that point. And you got to know, really, it really has nothing to do with you. Yes, you're the leader at the top. Yes, you've got to set that tone. Yes, you have to get that going. But if you don't have phenomenal people around you who have your back and help you be better than what you are, I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm the dumbest one in the room half the time because you got to hire some smart people around you to get the job done. And you have to hire some people who are workers, who believe the same things that you do. And I guess that's part of the mission. So our mission here was dream, believe, achieve. And that's ingrained in everything we have. And I would say we're really just a mission-driven school. So every decision that we make, every person that we hire, I don't hire anybody unless you believe the same things. I care about your experience. I care about what you know and what you can bring to the classroom. It's great to have someone who has the total package, but it has to start with, if you don't believe the same things I do, you can't work here. It's just that simple. And so if you come in from day one and you're able to establish, and obviously we were struggling at the time. So it's much easier to come into a situation in which it's pretty verifiable that, what was happening was not great, especially at the time. And I don't mean to knock anything that happened or anybody that was here or anything that went down. There were a lot of things with COVID that caused some of the things to happen the way that they did. But I certainly feel like that mission approach that vision approach, that everybody shares the same mission and vision, that's really the thing that kind of got us. I mean, that's why we took off. Yeah. And then we're small, so I know just about everything about every single one of my kids, and so that's the cool piece about it. So we've been on a journey here that I like to call impact to legacy. So great people in great spots are going to make an impact. But if you want to leave a legacy, man, you've got to have a servant's heart, number one, and you've got to duplicate yourself. So every level, all throughout what we do systematically across this campus, we're on that mission to try to duplicate ourselves. Like, I don't need to get the credit for this. I need you to be just as good as I am. And so that's straight down, that's the mission, that's the charge that I've given all of my department heads, all of my different areas, all of our athletic programs. I was blessed to have Pat Todd, who he was just named the district athletic director, so we're going to have to replace him. But he was he's a mentor to me in terms of just being an older gentleman who's, he was a college athletic director. He was a principal prior to this. And just having someone as a young guy to be able to bounce things off that wasn't my boss, that I could really speak true to, man, that was powerful for sure.
So can I tell you, Brent, you just gave so much powerful information there. One thing that really stood out and resonated with me was the need to be able to duplicate yourself. Not only yourself, but that's something that you look for in teammates as you're building your team. Can you dive into that a little deeper? What do you mean by being able to duplicate yourself?
Well, it's everywhere I've been. I've been blessed to have some success. And so I'm doing what I know I was put on this earth to do, and that's part of it. But I don't want anything to stop just because I'm not here. I don't want anything to stop just because a teacher left. And we all know teacher turnover, that's a constant thing you're going to have to deal with. And so how do I train the people I have to where my bench is so deep? So I use a sports analogy. My bench has got to be deep. So if I have a teacher, I have a department head that leaves, who's going to take that spot? Because when you talk a school the size that we are, one great teacher can move something so they can make an impact that is profound, as seen by the jump that we had in that school grade. But can we maintain it, and can we grow it? And if I am not here, is it going to continue? This is how we do business. This is what we're about. And so, it all starts with that mission and vision. So everybody has to believe the same thing. I've got to leave my ego at the door. I've got to forget about all the stupid things that were brought in education about BAM and this and that. Well, I can't share my secrets. And I think, and that's why I appreciate what you guys are doing here, because I've told Mike this, and I've told some of my mentors this. I don't want to do this anymore unless I feel like I'm making an impact. I've got to make a difference. I feel like I've got to make a difference. And I feel like all of our teachers who are in this and everybody who works for us, if you feel like you're not, I can offer you all the money in the world. But if deep down you don't feel like you're making the impact that you need to make, you're going to go do something else. And if you're talented, you're surely going to go do something else. And so that's what we try to instill in everybody, just that spirit and that attitude. And then, of course, we do a lot of things strategically. We try to maximize all our resources the best that we can. And there are a lot of things that we do with that. But, I keep coming back to everybody is united behind the fact that if you can dream it and you can believe it, you can achieve it. And our students believe that. I had to get them to believe it. I had to get our staff to believe things were possible. And then once that big mo gets going in your direction, man, that's a dangerous thing. And
that is a dangerous thing.
Powerful.
We've got to the point now that we're trying to ask and answer the question, what do our graduates look like? So yes, we've achieved some academic success, and we're going to continue to push the envelope of what that student experience is like, what we're doing there. But when our graduates get out of here, when you walk across that stage, are you ready to take on the world? And when I look in the mirror and I ask that question of myself, I had to say no. No, they're not. Some maybe are, some maybe not, but I can't say it's what we've done at school that really got them ready to go. We did a great job of educating, great job of graduating them, but do we have them ready? And so when you start to ask that question, it starts to make you think a little bit different. All of the data, all the results that you get, man, that should be a byproduct of doing the right thing consistently with your kids on an everyday basis and your staff on an everyday basis.
And I can
so
tell
how
you,
do you motivate the kids?
Man, I can tell you, as someone who's been blessed to follow your journey over the last 7 years, you are definitely making an impact to your students and your community as well. So kudos to you, Brent. Go ahead, Martin.
So you talk about the expectations, like the school I'm at, and I took over during COVID too, so it was a huge challenge just trying to get it open, but also trying to move kids. So tell me, what is one of the ways you change the mentality there, where they believe, where they dream, believe, achieve, because students, we can talk to teachers, but if you get the students to buy in, that's where you're going to get huge movement and huge lift. Go ahead.
Right. Well, so having them at the middle school was huge. I mean, that was massive because the relationship was already established, and so there was trust that was there, and that's been a pretty amazing thing. In fact, the group that is the seniors, and so my seniors right now, which includes my son, which is pretty awesome to be. I mean, if you're going to be a high school principal, you're going to be really, really busy. And I lost a lot of his childhood because I was so busy down in Eastridge, which was, heck, that was an hour away. As an AP boy, that's a hard job. You're covering nights all the time. So, there were tons of times I didn't see him. But this group that's getting ready to graduate from Umatilla High School, that really started the journey of the big jump for us, that got those awards, that we were able to, I was able to win those awards. I gave their 5th grade promotion, 8th grade promotion, and I will give their high school graduation speech.
Wow.
So I've been with these kids for that amount of time to see what's happened. Man, you just really kind of know what buttons to push. And so, you work with your staff to be able to do that. You think outside the box. I'll tell you a couple of things that we're doing right now. When you're small, you can build relationships. And so the school spirit of stuff, the relationships, the pride to be a bulldog, all of those things are, they're huge. We struggled athletically for a long time. And so school spirit was hard because everybody scheduled us for their senior nights, if that makes any sense. Because
I've seen a lot of homecomings.
Yeah, now they don't do that anymore.
Early in my career, yeah.
We've had some success. And then you highlight the things that your kids are doing on a constant basis. So, tons of Facebook posts, tons of things. Every time I had an opportunity to get in front of the kids and speak, I'm in classes every single day, nonstop. I hate being in my office. If I'm in my office, I'm in a real bad mood because I'm probably dealing with some crap I don't want to deal with. That's just, that's just what 100%. It is. That's why I hate the summer. I hate the summer because there's no one here. I can't stand it. I love my people that are here.
We do this to work with the kids.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But,
so talk to us a little bit about your summer. What do you do during the summer without the kids there?
Well, it's dangerous. So I've redone locker rooms. I've painted some things. So I always try to do something for the kids so there's something new when they come back. This year, I really didn't have anything I had to do in terms of a construction project. So I've been working with one of my APs, Mrs. Camp. Oh, gosh, she's amazing. She is developing our mentorship program. So you asked how we got the kids engaged. So every incoming freshman starting last year had an upperclassman that was trained as a mentor. I've seen lots of mentorship programs. I've never seen any that were done right. Like I've seen things through capturing kids' hearts. I've seen just tons of them. And I love the idea. Everybody loves the idea, but then they fizzle out. And so what we saw is we identified a need for our kids who were upperclassmen. And we started 2 years ago. We started in the second semester, and we had a group of about 9 teachers, and we developed some leadership training for them. So on our campus was about 150 students that ranged from juniors to seniors that year, or actually it was sophomores and juniors that year. And so to start off, every single incoming freshman is assigned an upperclassman who's a mentor to them. And so we started that last year. And so they just have a point of contact. We have a student choice period that we have 4 days a week. That's right after first period. We call it Bulldog time. Mm-hmm. So on Mondays is reserved. We have to do a lot of mental health training. I'm sure you guys do too. So we do that during Mondays. But then Mondays are reserved. We call them Mentor Mondays. And so all of our upperclassmen, they have their numbers. They're checking in daily with them. They're the guide to tell them what to do. And then our leaders who are part of the program, we call the program, it's called Believing in You. And it's been a powerful tool for our kids. And so this summer, we've been working with a guy who actually is an orthopedic surgery he's an orthopedic surgeon for the Navy. His name's William Todd, and he's been trying to help us. He's been trying to help us develop a better curriculum, because I couldn't really afford to pay for all these curriculums and all these things coming in, and we wanted something that was unique for us. So training our mentors how to be mentors, like, how do you start conversation pieces with them? How do you have a professional relationship? And then we go into, how do you write college essays? How do you interview? How do you do all of these things? And we never take class time to do it because we use Bulldog time that's 4 days a week to do it. And we have everything from, kids who are the valedictorians all the way down to kids who you wouldn't think would ever want to be mentors, be a part of this process. They get all of their volunteer hours, so they get everything for Bright Futures that they would need, so we sell it that way to them. And we're continually developing it. So this year we had our incoming freshmen. We had our 8th graders over for a visitation time. And we had them fill out a survey that was like an interest survey so that we could try to match them a little bit better with the mentors. And man, that's been a powerful piece of it. And we added another piece. So you asked about this summer. So I've been working on a lower quartile mentorship program.
Excellent.
So we trashed intensive reading, because I'm going to tell you the key to the high school grade is the lower quartile growth. So once you get acceleration right, once you get graduation right, you're going to have U.S. history, biology is going to be there for you. And so your proficiency, you're only going to move so much. Like, that's only going to move a couple of points, just because it's hard to move that group of people there. You can continue that momentum, but that's usually a multi-year process. But how do I put something that's systematic into play, that's outside the box, that works with our lower quartile kids? So we trashed our 9th and 10th grade. We don't call it intensive reading anymore. We call it beyond the book. And so it kind of goes along with ELA a little bit. And so there's teachers playing together. So it's a little bit of an extension of what they're doing, but it's also very skills-based, and then it's career-based. So we're trying to get you to engage in school. Those kids are my dropouts. So how do I get them to engage? How do I get you to try? Because it's never really a skill problem. Like, there's a little bit of skill inside of there that we continue to work on. It's a motivation problem.
And it goes back to belief.
That's right. So we work with an organization called Powerhouse that you've worked with too, Mike, that did some great things for us. Our lower quartile growth, and we got some raw numbers right now, we were about 50% in both math and in ELA.
Shout out.
So that's our measure that we want to be at, that we're looking to see if this thing's effective. So that's the short-term measure. Long-term measure is, do you stay in school? Do you complete things? Do you engage? And do you graduate and go on and be successful? That's the long-term piece that we want to see.
And Brent, if you think about it, those kids come in as a 9th grader. If you're a double level 1, I know in Clay County we've shifted it where we had algebra. Like, they would come in, they'd have to take algebra 1A, 1B, and then they have to take English and intensive reading. So we were able to make some shifts and move algebra 1A, 1B to 9th and 10th grade. Because the goal is, let's get them connected in a CTE program. Let's get them connected with something other than just having a company double math, double reading. We've seen success with it, but I like that model where you're shifting away and focusing on, what are you going to do after school? What are some ways that?
So we brought in manuals for kids to read. We brought in like all kinds of guest speakers. We took them to the local technical college, and we're going to be enhancing that this year. And then we brought in Powerhouse, and Powerhouse is a group that did 16 sessions with them to try to help them find their passion and purpose and hook them up with mentors, like outside mentors, once we identified, okay, what path do you want to go on? So you understand your why, and then you engage a little bit better. We've made some adjustments in that this year because it was just too many sessions for that many kids, because we serviced every single one of them. And the cool thing this year that we're looking to do is all of the mentors that work with Powerhouse, the outside mentors, they call them hope dealers. And I love that term. So Scott Chevalier, the guy who does it, runs it, he is going to be coming in and doing a training this year for our, so he's going to open up as part of our PD. He's going to do a 2-hour training in which he's going to be he's going to train our staff, everything from custodians all the way to food service people. And each one of my staff members are going to be assigned, they'll have a lower quartile mentor, and they'll have T-shirts. Everybody's going to have T-shirts. We're going to have some Hope Dealer bracelets. And so if you've ever been through anything like Capturing Kids' Hearts that talks about how do you build relationships with kids, just as an extra point of contact, because what we're doing academically in the stuff is great stuff. The problem is we can't get you to engage. So I've got to get that relationship piece, and I need every single one of my staff members to know who these kids are. And so that's a piece of what we're going to do. Our staff has been great. All of our office staff has volunteered to be a part of this whole process. So the only group I haven't talked, and our custodians, which is pretty amazing. So we'll see how that's going to go. We're going to use Bulldog time as a point of reference, like a Friday on Bulldog time. Hey, I need you to connect with them, and they can access grades and take a look at what's happening and just be that point of contact to build that relationship with them. So we got a 2-hour training that's going to happen, I think, on the second day of school. And then he's going to do 4 or 5 follow-up sessions on Wednesdays for us, just to keep our staff inspired and motivated. So, it's kind of interesting. When I got into this, I'm like, man, I'm not going to be like these other principals that I've been a part of and done some of these things. Yes, we have the academic stuff that we have to work at. Yes, we have all these things that we need to look at. But I view all of our faculty meetings that we have, and any chance I get a chance to be in front of my staff, my job is to inspire them, man. And as the year is going on, you just get burnt out. This is a tough job.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It'll chew you up and spit you out and all the different pieces of it. So being mindful of that as a leader, to be able to have my cup that's full enough so that I can fill everybody else's cup up. And that's what I have to be mindful of as a leader, because, guys, there's just times I just like, man, y'all can take this job and shove it, because I'm dealing with a crazy parent or I've got all of this stuff going on. So finding what motivates me and keeps me inspired is really, really important. And, you do that through PD, you do that through outside activities, you do that through connecting like what we're doing today, and just find that spark that keeps you going. That's what I want to do with my teachers, and I'm hoping this is going to be a part of it. And kind of going back to the whole philosophy here is that it's never about money. It's never about anything that gives you meaning in life. If I can make a difference in someone's life, and especially someone who's hard to reach, at the high school level, it's different than the elementary, and the other sides of it is that I've got 150 to 180 kids, and I've got 45 minutes a day, and that's if you come every single day. So how can I get that feeling that I'm making that kind of an impact? And so I'm hoping this is going to be something that's going to work. I'm hoping it's going to be something that is going to be something that we can duplicate. And so I really have a passion for wanting to, almost be a science project. Like, I'm really good at just, change directions really quick. Okay, well, that sounds like a good idea. How can we put this into play? Does it fit with our mission and vision? Yes. How can we put it into play to make a difference in kids' lives? So that's really kind of that's my new project that I have going on this summer.
Well, I can tell you, Brent, you definitely inspire not only your staff, but you've inspired us as well at Leesburg High School. We will be transitioning to 4 days of acceleration time this year, from a conversation that you and I had earlier this summer, just really seeing how you're using that time strategically to meet the needs of your students. And again, your numbers shows that success. So, Brent, thank you so much for being here today. I think we might have just lost you a little bit, but that's a great time.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
I was going to say, that's a great time to kind of wrap up today. Brent, is there what's one pro tip that you would give a principal as they're getting ready for pre-planning?
You need to set the mission and vision on the first day, and then you need to be flexible with the time. Because, you're going to have veteran teachers that, everything is set up and they're ready to rock and roll. But, you don't have to mandate every single minute of what occurs. And so if you're going to be in front of them, or if you're going to provide PD to them, or you're going to work with them, make sure it is effective. And you really think through that process for your staff and what they need to be successful. That's what I would say.
You start with the opening meeting?
We do. It's about 2.5 hours or so, and that includes team building, breakfast, and all that kind of stuff, where we set the vision, and I try to inspire you. Man, that's like the Super Bowl. I get ready to rock and roll, man. I get them all pumped up. Everybody's excited to be there. Like, that's the best day that you could ever present, for sure. Mm-hmm. And then I allow them to work in rooms. And, of course, we have, like, a district PD stuff that we have. But I try to limit that to 2 to 3 hours a day maximum. No one can sit in 8 hours a day. Are you kidding me? I can't stand it. I'm ADHD, as you can imagine. I just cannot do it. And so I know they can as well. And trying to work through that process and give them time to meet as departments if they need to meet as departments. But I don't mandate that time. And so I challenge my department heads, listen, y'all have got to be leaders. You got to duplicate yourself and you got to be leaders. So take control of your departments. I also try to work out some time in the master schedule for my main department heads, ELA and math and social studies right now. I was able to do it, and they have an extra period that's open, and they actually go into all of their departments. Like they see everybody in their department. So that's
really cool.
A cool piece of it. I want them to be empowered to be able to make that change. And they're the experts in the room. So they're always with me when I'm interviewing somebody for their department. I bring in the department heads for that because I want their input. They ask the nuts and bolts questions. I'm trying to determine and cut through the BS and find out, are you a good fit for here? And then they're trying to determine what's your skill level, so I know if we're going to hire you, how do I need to support you?
Wow, that's powerful. So, Brent, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Martin, for your time as well. And we are excited to launch episode 2 of Talking Shop, a conversation with educational leaders. So have a great night. Go Jackets.
Thanks again, Brent. Go Broncos.
Yes, sir. Great to be with you guys. Go Bulldogs, the original.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys.
I don't know.